Hello and welcome to Cookery of Mason Storm. In this video we'll be making some cinnamon buns. Now these cinnamon buns don't require yeast and the recipe is essentially a modified version of the beer bread. To begin with, the base, we need 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 1.5 tablespoons of baking powder, 1 cup of milk, 1/3 cup of honey, 1/2 cup of butter, and of course 3 cups of flour. Now for the cinnamon portion that goes in between the layers, we need 1/4 cup of butter, 1 cup of brown sugar, 1/4 cup white sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. Okay, let's get started. Mixing bowl here. So we'll put our dry ingredients, our flour, salt, and baking powder. We'll mix it up lightly with the whisk. Then we'll insert the butter and use a pastry knife to mix in the butter into the flour mixture. If you don't have a pastry knife, just use a fork. Works just as good. Well, almost as good. It's not a specialized tool or anything, but it will work. Now it's time to add the honey to the mixture. And then we'll also add the milk, so we'll have all of our wet ingredients in at this point. Now I attempted to mix this up with the whisk, and it worked terribly, so I do not recommend using a whisk to try to mix this mixture. So I moved over to using a wooden spoon, and it worked a lot better for me. The wooden spoon is far more effective than the whisk is, that's for sure. And this is kind of a drier batter than the one used in the beer bread, so it sticks together a lot more. And that's kind of the way that we're able to actually roll this into a cinnamon bun shape. So we just keep kind of mixing around, try to get all the flour kind of incorporated. And once you get kind of close, you just start doing it by hand and start to kind of knead the dough. We don't really have to knead it for any real length of time, which is good because that's a lot of work. So I'll just throw down some flour here. Flour will stop the dough from sticking to the table so I can continue to knead it. And we're just going to keep kneading it till we think it's all good and mixed in. The other part that the flour helps is that if the dough is too sticky and wet, having a little bit of flour added to the outer perimeter will kind of normalize the dough so that it's not as sticky and you get it kind of more the consistency that you want. Okay, I'll put down some more flour here. I think our dough is good to go now. So this will be necessary for the rolling out process. Although I probably overdid the flour here. So it is what it is. Make sure you put flour on your rolling pin as well so your dough doesn't just stick to the rolling pin and pull itself up. We're just going to aim for kind of a rectangular-y type of shape. Try to thin it out as much as you kind of can. So I have a bit of a tear here, which kind of sucks, but I'm going to fold it over and roll into it. And it doesn't really fix it perfectly, but it will fix it enough that it will work for our process. But to really fix it, you'd have to like re-knead the dough, and that would make things worse. So just patch it as good as you can if you get a little bit of a tear. And once we got it all stretched out to the level we think we need, then we'll move on to the next step in the process. Moving on, now that it's all stretched out, we'll start making our filling. So we get our mixing bowl here. We'll combine our brown sugar with our white sugar, our vanilla, and our butter. Oh, we got to melt our butter first. That is in the microwave. We'll add our cinnamon. Now that our butter is melted, we can add it. Okay. Now we'll just get the fork in here and mix it all around. And once that's all mixed up, then we can start applying it to our batter. So let's kind of sprinkle it out as much as we can all around. It's really kind of crumbly, this mix. Probably add more butter if you want it a little bit more creamy, but it works good kind of the way it is. And then you use your hand to kind of brush it around to get a better distribution. And there we go, looking good. Make sure you have your stuff somewhat close to the edges, but not like right on them. too much. Then we can start rolling down from the top. Try to keep it tight on all positions of the roll as you're rolling. Have it kind of loose there on the one end. There we go. Try to tighten that up a little bit. And just keep going. Just keep rolling it. Just take your time. Make sure it's a nice tight roll. And all will be good. Okay, perfect. That's all rolled up. We have our cinnamon roll. We'll get our pan, butter up our pan so they don't stick as much. Then we can get our knife out and start cutting our cinnamon buns. Now they do expand quite a bit, and if you need to get more cinnamon buns, you can simply cut them a little bit shorter, because it does make a fairly big cinnamon bun with the way that I cut it here. So adjust your cuts accordingly, and your cooking time will probably change as well, so something to be aware of. Now that they're all on the pan, into the oven we go. 375 degrees with a cook time of 25 to 35 minutes or till they're golden. This recipe was a little bit of an experiment, so I didn't make any icing for them. I wanted to focus on the taste of the buns, but feel free to, and I can confirm that these things taste really good. So let me know in the comments below how you make your cinnamon buns. And if you like this video, push the like button and subscribe if you want to see more of this. And until next time, stay awesome.